All right, I know I'm not on the screen yet. Going to get there in just a minute. And hope everybody's having a good Saturday. Yeah, hope everyone's doing well. Having a good Saturday. We're going to talk about the Trump indictment today, obviously. People are giving their opinions on the matter. We're on the other side of those really crazy storms, and our thoughts and prayers and all the good energy we have goes out to Arkansas and Illinois and Iowa and Mississippi and parts of Missouri. And parts of southwest Tennessee that were devastated yesterday by I wouldn't say like a once-in-a-lifetime or a historic tornado outbreak. However, it was significant, and it was something that we often don't see. We don't see it very often, and now there's another setup potentially coming next week. April 5th is a target that we're looking at, a very similar setup, so we'll see if that pans out, and if that does play out, we will be in... I'll be in tracking mode. So, and everybody on Twitter last night was like, whoa, you know a lot about the weather. What's that about? Is this something you went to school for? No, it's not something I just kind of taught myself. I've been very interested in it since a very young age. And we're following it yesterday, watching Reed Timmer all day long, watching him for about, 5-6 hours, watching him and Alex Vanover, the drone captain, go out there and fly those drones into the storm. So anyway, I hope everybody's joining the conversation right now, letting everyone roll into the Rumble channel. That's where we're focusing on. But if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on Getter, if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're also watching on the Twitter live stream, welcome as well. I see most of the comments and most of the conversation over on Rumble. So if you have a Rumble account, go to the channel, rumble.com/Sean Farish, give us a follow, and jump in the live chat with all of us. It would be really cool if you could come over to Rumble, as we can speak our minds there. The sooner we can transition our entire audience over to Rumble, the better, because the first time that we did one of these conversations on a Saturday, YouTube gave me a strike, believe it or not. They told me that something that I said was against their community guidelines, blah, 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 blah. Well, okay, so we're going to be careful today, and we're going to wink and a nod, basically get through what we want to get through. I've got the phone ready to go, so we'll get to that in a little bit. But before we do it, folks, thanks for joining on a Saturday. I'm sure you have better things to do than to watch me coming and talking to you. But I like to do this on Saturdays. People seem to want a conversation, and we'll have one. That's what we're going to do. What does the Trump indictment mean for the rest of us? And that's, I think, something that's being overlooked. You can indict a former president because you can indict a ham sandwich. You can indict anything. You can indict this cup of coffee and say that this cup of coffee robbed a bank. If you can show a grand jury that this cup of coffee was present in a bank at the time of the robbery, they can technically indict it. That's how indictments work. Now, I indicted this cup of coffee and sentenced it to personal consumption, and so I'm going to be doing that throughout the show. Apologize if it breaks up the flow a little bit. Now, what does the Trump indictment mean for all of us? The news broke a couple of days ago that Donald Trump was being indicted by the grand jury in Manhattan, a stark departure from normal procedures in the New York State Supreme Court, which a lot of people don't know is not the highest court in New York. Being from New York, you would think the Supreme Court, it's supreme, right? It's not. It's not the highest court in the state. The appellate court is, in fact, the highest court in the state of New York. So there have been several cases that the Supreme Court have ruled on that the appellate court would then rule against or not in favor of. They would rule in favor of the appeal, and the entire thing would be. So it's very complicated. But here's the thing. I don't think, and I've been saying this since March 18th, 2 weeks ago when we did our first little Saturday conversation, which was very, very constructive and fun, that the Trump indictment, I don't think the charges are going to stick. I really don't. They're bogus cases. It's a bogus legal theory. It's something that, if you look at it at the surface, the liberals are going to come out and they're going to say, he was indicted. We did it. That's the same people that came out and said, he was impeached. We did it. That doesn't mean anything. Matter of fact, it would take one Google search for some of these people, some of these liberals that came out during the Trump presidency when he was impeached, to realize that impeachment has never and still has never resulted in the removal of a president of the United States from office, ever. It has never resulted in a removal. Now, this is the first time that a president or a former president has been indicted in a crime. And the one thing, and this is something that I want everyone to kind of explain to, and I always say your liberal friends. Now, I don't mean your friends that are brainwashed men can be women liberals. I mean your friends that are reasonable. Oh, something might be wrong here, but they think they're liberals, right? I want you to explain this to them. If Donald Trump, I want you to ask this question to them. If Donald Trump was as bad as advertised, if this guy was evil, if he was the next Adolf Hitler, if Donald Trump was this, they say orange man bad, but if he was as bad as everybody was saying, right? If he was as bad as everybody was saying, why then is this what they have to try to indict him on? That's the biggest question that I have. If this guy's the next Hitler, if he's a racist, if he's a xenophobe, if he's a threat to democracy, why are we focused on Stormy Daniels' silliness? See, to me, that doesn't make sense. To me, that doesn't make sense at all. If he was as bad as advertised, then why do we have to resort to hush money payments that he wasn't even a party to? Again, the Michael Cohen letter, which destroys the case. We have to resort to this? There's really nothing else? This is worse than jaywalking. But what does it mean for the rest of us? Because buried in the stories, and we're going to get to polling and how people are thinking, but buried in these stories is turning into the fact, or turning into this idea now that we don't live in a free country anymore. It's turning into this idea that if you speak out or you challenge the entrenched powers of the establishment on either side, and in this case, Donald Trump challenged the powers of the establishment on both sides. He challenges the military-industrial complex that several Republicans subscribe to. He challenges the woke industrial complex that the majority of the left subscribes to. He challenges the medical industrial process, big pharma, with the exception, obviously, we know, the vaccine. And that's a discussion for another day. But all of these transgender surgery. And how about this? Today's supposed to be the Transgender Day of Visibility. April Fools. It's the Trump Day of Visibility now because Alvin Bragg, who has an insatiable appetite, we can call it, decided he wanted to, quote-unquote, make history here and be the first district attorney throughout the United States to indict a former president. And that's because he won with 83% of the vote. But what does it mean for the rest of us? What does it mean for the rest of us? So, the rest of us can't speak out. We can't speak out. We're not allowed to petition our government. We're not allowed to peacefully, you hear Karine Jean-Pierre talking about, we need these, they're under attack, the trans community, and we want them to peacefully protest and make their voices heard. Really? I thought the word peacefully and make your voices heard, when Donald Trump used it, it was an incitement to insurrection. Or as Chuck Schumer called it, erection. Remember that? Donald John Trump incited an erection at the Capitol. No, I did not do that. I did not do that. Stormy didn't incite one for me either, believe it or not. That's not what I'm saying. So, what does it mean for the rest of us? So you see that he was indicted. And here's Fox News. This is not Fox News. Sorry, that was NBC News. Here's Fox News, and this is encouraging. Donald Trump sees an increase in fundraising after the indictment news. It's going to backfire on the Democrats. A lot of people I know who were fence sitters. Oh, Trump, DeSantis, Trump, DeSantis, whatever. A lot of people who were sitting on the fence are now saying, you know what, they're coming after this guy. It must mean that he's a threat. Now, of course, Fox News is going to come out here with this nonsense of, how long is it going to last? So we're going to get away from Fox News. We're going to get away to someone who's equally as bad. NBC News. Trump campaign says it raised more than $4 million in 24 hours after his indictment. But I want to get to a point. They bury the lead here. And we're going to get to this poll, which is extremely significant, which shows you what the overall theme of what I'm saying to do is have this conversation with your liberal friends. Is this what you voted for? Is this what you had in mind? Or do you want a free, fair, and equal republic? Do you want to have freedom of speech, or do you want it to just be gone by the wayside? The Quinnipiac University survey released Wednesday found that 93% of Republicans and 72% of independent voters, folks, those are huge majorities, thought the Manhattan investigation was mainly motivated by politics rather than the rule of law. This is on the NBC News article, but I have the actual post as well. The NBC News article that you see popped up on your screen talking about how he raised more than $4 million in 24 hours after his indictment. But what does the poll mean? Well, this is a great thing. The poll means that the liberals are crazy. They're cuckoo. They're cuckoo. Okay, they're crazy people. These are not people that are of sane, sound, rational mind. These are crazy people. I call them crazy people, okay? Quinnipiac University says that 93% of Republicans and 72% of independent voters thought the Manhattan investigation was motivated by politics. However, now listen to this. That same survey found that and this is what troubles me. This is how you know gaslighting is good. It's working well for the left. It's not good, but it's working well for the left. That same survey found that 53% of independent voters believe criminal charges should be disqualifying for Trump's presidential bid. Criminal charges. Well, it means what has happened here is we have normalized guilty until proven innocent. Crazy is the new normal. Normal is the new crazy. We have normalized guilty until proven innocent. If somebody simply believes that charges, not convictions, is a difference. Donald Trump, impeachment hoax number one. Remember that. Impeachment hoax number one. Remember that. It was a hoax. Impeachment hoax. Was charged with abuse of power and obstruction of justice and jaywalking and felonious mopery and all sorts of nonsense, right? Charged. Impeachment hoax number two. Number two, incitement of insurrection. Peacefully and patriotically let your voices be heard. There's no incitement. Charged with insurrection, inciting violence, etc., etc. Acquitted both times. Acquitted by a big, beautiful vote in the Senate. Acquitted both times, right? Now, if 53% of independents believe that charges should result in disqualifying, you have to sit those folks down and say charges means accusations. Charges means you have been criminally accused, indicted in the crime, and charged with it. An accusation should not disqualify anybody from anything. If you are proven guilty in a court of law and convicted, now we can have a different conversation. But the fact that a majority of independent voters believe that charges in and of themselves should be disqualifying for Trump's presidential bid, that's a big problem. And this is why I love talking about polling, because it gives you a snapshot not just of how people are going to vote, but the sentiment by which people feel. So the poll that we're talking about, we're going to show you that Quinnipiac, this is it, the tweet. Do you think the Manhattan, this is going to show you the Quinnipiac poll finds the Democrats being the outlier in this case. Quinnipiac poll, do you think the Manhattan District Attorney's case involving former President Trump is mainly motivated by politics or mainly motivated by the law? The overall results of the poll here say 62% politics, 32% law. I guess the rest of them didn't know. GOP was 93.5 politics law. Democrats was 29.66 politics law. And independents were 70-26 politics to law. What does this show you, folks? That the Democrats are the crazy people in the country, that they are the outlier. 2 out of the 3 groups that were polled in this poll that we just had on the screen, and I'll put the actual data up there in a second, believe that this was politically motivated. 2/3. 2/3. Almost. 62% is almost 2/3. But 2 out of the 3 groups overwhelmingly believe that this is a political hoax. A political witch hunt. So it shows you right there that the Democrats are indeed the outliers. They want to tell you that, we know what the American people want. You don't know what the American people want because you feel completely opposite to the way the rest of the country feels. It's a good thing. That's a good thing. Now we take this and we have conversations with our somewhat sane, rational left-wing or left-leaning friends and say, hey, do you really know? Do you really think that this trial that they're going to be putting Trump, that these charges that they've thrown at Donald Trump in New York City, do you think that this is legit? Do you think that this is something that is legitimate, that we should be focusing on? Or is this just a political game? I believe, and I've been saying this for a while, and I took a lot of crap for it on some of the social media. Well, there are no rational people left. No, there are plenty of rational people left. Don't fall into that trap where we're so divided we can't find common ground. There are plenty of people that we can't find common ground with, and I'll agree with you there. You believe a dude could be a lady? No. I can't find common ground with you. Sorry. Blair White's a woman, April Fools. Like, seriously, stop it. There are two. One gender and another gender. That's it. Right? What? That's it. It's very simple. I'm not going to be a part of crazy is the new normal, normal is the new crazy. I'm just going to go and live life normally because we know what the facts are. There are men, there are women, and that's it. Like, you know, the idea, the concept of being transgender, being a woman in a man's body is about as legitimate as the concept of an imaginary friend. It's true. Oh, you're a guy, you think you're a girl? That's cool. You could think that. I could think I'm Michael Jordan. I'll still lay bricks playing basketball. I'm not. I'm just not. The fact of the matter is, I could want to be anybody I want to be. I could sound like Trump. I'm never going to be Trump. You understand that? I sound a lot like him, though. A lot of people say that. Everybody's saying it. Everybody likes that, too. Apparently, they're excited about it. And it's incredible. But I'll never be Donald Trump. Perhaps I'm better looking than him. Who knows? He'd probably get upset with me for saying that. He's never been upset with me for saying anything else, but if I say that I'm better looking than him, he might be mad. But I can think that I am whatever I am if I'm not that, you know, if the facts are presented and I'm not Michael Jordan, I'm not Donald Trump, I'm not good at basketball, I'm not a lady. I don't have an imaginary friend. If I think my imaginary friend is real, I am what many would call crazy. It's time to start making that distinction. Don't worry about how people feel in this case. We need to get them help. We don't need to affirm their insanity and feed it. Just like you wouldn't feed an anorexic's eating disorder, you would just feed the anorexic. You wouldn't feed the disorder and starve the anorexic. Just like you wouldn't feed an obese person's eating disorder, give them nothing but pizza, donuts, Chinese food, and pasta for the next 5 days, and say, don't worry, pal, I know you may not look it, but you're fine. You're perfectly healthy. You're 600, 700 pounds. You're perfectly... No, you get people help. You try and find out and try and push them and guide them and work with them to better themselves in the future. You don't just cover it up by being kind and patting them on the back and going on to the next thing. I will not be a part of crazy is the new normal, normal is the new crazy. That's just the way it's going to be. If that makes me a bigot, well then, hey, guilty as charged, right? But I don't think that's bigoted at all. I think that's just called living in the real world. That's called being factual. We can all do that. I think it's time to take the people that aren't like that. We know there are plenty of people who are like that. They're just louder. There are a lot more people who are just afraid to say what I just said and what a lot of people will be saying in the chat, what a lot of people have said in previous times. I think there's a lot of people who are afraid to say that, who know it's true, and are afraid to say it. It's time to get to those people and say, look, there's no reason to be afraid. If you continue to be suppressed into silence, you're indicted next. Trust me. You're indicted next. Here. And for those of you who don't believe the poll is real, there's the poll. It's right on your screen. I don't think any of us believe the poll isn't real. We know the poll is real. I've been talking about this poll for a while. Even a majority of women voters believe that this was a mainly political witch hunt. And Trump never polls well with women. Yeah, oh yeah. I do great with women in other categories. I don't do well with polling. Not at all. I do great with women in a lot of other activities. You know, Billy Bush, they let you do it, believe it or not. You're on the bus, you could do. Yeah, he doesn't poll well with women. And it's a lot of Republican candidates don't poll well with women because of abortion, because of the way abortion has been spun. Yeah. But the funny part is now that like women who are actually feminists, like traditional feminists, are going to have to detach themselves from the trans thing because the trans movement is destroying feminism. It's destroying actual womanhood. It's destroying what it means to be a strong, independent, successful woman. If you are a strong, independent, successful woman and you consider yourself to be on the left, do you think a man should be able to step in and take titles away from you? Well, what do you mean a man? Trans women are women too. But they aren't, though. They aren't. Ladies and gentlemen, they are not. Women too. If a female weightlifter is beaten in a weightlifting competition by a biological man who's masquerading as a woman, that is a man winning that competition. If both of those competitors, or if all of the competitors in that field suffered some horrible tragedy where they had to be identified by DNA, that winner, the person who won, would be identified as a biological male. That's not fair. And I feel bad. I do. And I'm no feminist. But I always ask, should Susan B. Anthony have just identified as a man to go vote? Or should she have fought for the rights of women to vote? Is that a tough question? So again, there are a lot of reasonable people who would be honest with you if you put them in that situation to say, is this what you voted for? Don't fall into the trap of there are no more reasonable people. You're either right or you're left. There are a ton of people who are caught in the crossfires now who had no idea this was going to wind up on their doorstep, and now here it is. If you don't believe me that it's going to wind up on your doorstep, it already has, ladies and gentlemen. This indictment is not just an indictment of Donald Trump. It's a step towards indicting anybody who supports Donald Trump. That's not to scare you or to say it's time to give up and time to run and hide. It's more or less to say we know there are a lot more of us than there are of them. We know that we are winning on the messaging with independents, because or else they wouldn't feel the same way we do in a 70-30 split. Not even 30, 70 to 26. Only a quarter of independents believe that this has to do with the rule of law. That means 70% of independents out there feel the same way as we do on this particular issue, which means there's your common ground with folks who may have voted for Joe Biden in 2020. And that's where you start. This is what the indictment means for the rest of us. That's where you start with these independents. You sit them down, you talk to them, and you say, hey, do you really feel that this is what you voted for? Do you really feel that this is based in law? Do you think this is driven by the rule of law or driven by politics? If they tell you politics, you go, wow, can you tell me why you feel that way? Let them explain their position and watch how conservative they actually are. Guaranteed. But you've got to have these conversations. You've got to foster these conversations with them. And they are there to be had. If your neighbor across the street gives you crap or gave you crap in 2020 because you had a Trump flag up, but now you put your Trump flag back up and their neighbor's not giving you crap anymore, maybe it's time to friendly back up to that neighbor and start to forge a relationship. Right? This is not like, well, you did something once to me that I don't agree with and now I can never talk to you again, unless it's egregious. But if someone tells you I don't like Trump, that's not a reason to never talk to somebody again. We can get right back to forging new relationships and expanding our base organically. You know why we have to do that? Because Trump is going to be tied up with this indictment for a little bit, and the GOP establishment is not going to help us, but we can help ourselves. We're much more powerful than they are. There are much more of us than there are of them, and we can make this happen. What does the indictment mean for the rest of us? It means you're going to start to see things like this happen all over the place. New York City jury finds Douglas Mackey guilty because he made a meme, ladies and gentlemen. This story is getting squashed. Nobody's talking about this. Memes are illegal now. So let me get this straight. 2016 election. A guy puts out a meme. All right? That said, if you want to vote for Hillary Clinton, you can vote by text. That's what the meme essentially said. And the federal government, and I'm sure Hillary and everybody who's the powers that be, decided the meme was a threat to the election. They charged him. They got him guilty. Election interference. So a meme can influence an election. But unsecured drop boxes, letting chain of custody rules and protocols go out the window, no signature verification, very strange delays in counting votes, potential issues with the functionality of voting machines. And I'm trying to phrase these words. I'm not trying to be soft here. We're on YouTube today. So I'm trying to phrase those issues that I just brought up. They cannot influence the safest and most secure election in history. That's what they tell you. 2020 was safe and secure. There were no issues with signature verification. There were no issues with drop boxes. There were no issues with mail-in ballots. There were no issues with counting. There were no issues with the machines. 2020 was safe and secure. That's what it was. But the one meme won in 2016. That is election interference. Now do you see what I'm talking about? It's not just about indicting Donald Trump. They are potentially going to send a man to 10 years in jail, sentence him to 10 years in jail for sharing something funny. Do you understand what that looks like? It's not even what it looks like, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it is. This is a crackdown on dissenting speech. You should be disgusted by it, incensed by it. A meme can interfere in an election, but all those different factors and issues and things that occurred in 2020, no. Those don't have any impact. They have no influence. They don't hold any water when it comes to election interference. That's what they're telling you. So what does the Trump indictment mean for us? It means you can look and see if they do this successfully, if we don't find the motivation here, and maybe we can't donate to the campaign. Trump even said, if you're doing poorly because of Biden's economy, don't donate. But if you're doing well because of my economy, donate. He literally said that on Truth Social. What can we do? Get involved locally, get involved in your counties. If your county Republican Party sucks, like my former county Republican Party, organize outside of them, grassroots, take a stand, and get ready for a much larger political challenge. I don't want to use the FIGHT word because that's a bad word too. And organize with your friends and start to expand the base organically. If these poll numbers are right, and there's no reason to believe they're not, then we have a lot more people than we thought previously that are on our side, that are ready, or that at least acknowledge that this indictment of Donald Trump is purely political. 70 to 26, that split among independents is so drastic. And there were 1,200, almost 1,300 people were surveyed in that poll. That is so drastic that should show you that there are a lot of people who are not registered to a party, that are fence sitters, and I bet you a lot of those independents voted for Biden in 2020, that are now ready to look for something else or somebody else to vote for in 2024. Because what's happening now to President Trump, that's not what they wanted to see happen. Not because they like Trump. Not because they now all of a sudden support Donald Trump. They just don't want to see it happen because they think there are other things that should be prioritized first. It's very simple. Some of these independents may not be Trump supporters. But if they are recognizing that this shouldn't be happening, if they're upset that it's happening because there are other issues in their minds that they believe should be prioritized, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's the homeless veteran crisis, the veteran suicide crisis, funding our military, the national debt, the banking issues, the environmental disasters, the issues with air travel, inflation, etc. I mean, the list goes on and on. All it takes is for us to sit down and have this conversation with them and say, is this what you think they should be paying attention to? Now, they may come out and say, well, it's not the federal government going after Trump. It's Alvin Bragg. It's Manhattan. Well, there are members of the Biden district Department of Justice that are no longer a part of the Department of Justice that are a part of Alvin Bragg's office. But even more alarming than that is this. Alvin Bragg himself has confirmed that federal funds, that means your taxpayer dollars, again, those independents that believe that this is driven by politics, that 70 to 26 split, that believe that it's driven by politics, now can be told and can be shown the data and say, hey, you believe it was driven by politics? If you don't think it's appropriate, guess what? You funded it. You don't think that's going to get them upset? I'm upset that I funded it. I'm upset that anybody who's watching this funded it. But you don't think those independents who believe this is a political pursuit of Donald Trump, that this is not a pursuit of the rule of law, you don't think they're going to be upset that they were on the hook for this witch hunt operation on Trump too? You don't think they're going to be upset? I think they're going to be very upset. And I'm not here to try and make people upset, but sometimes when you get upset, that's your wake-up call. Alvin Bragg confirms federal funds were used in the Trump probe, bolstering the GOP investigation. Now, we do have this battle to fight with independents because they think that charges should disqualify you from running for president. Charges are different than convictions. If you're acquitted on the charges, that's it. There are no more charges. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office revealed to House Republicans on Friday in a letter obtained by Breitbart News that roughly $5,000 in federal funds. Now, it's not a lot of money, all things considered. It's not a lot of money, but it's federal funding nonetheless. And that's just the beginning, I think. $5,000 in federal funds have gone towards Bragg's office investigation of former President Donald Trump and or the Trump Organization. The funds, Bragg's general counsel Leslie Dubik wrote to three powerful GOP chairmen, Jordan, Comer, and Steele, came from the Justice Department's Asset Forfeiture Fund and were used to investigate Trump and his organization between 2019 and August of 2021, October of 19 and August of 2021, before Alvin Bragg took office. Dubek also noted that the district attorney's office was enrolled in 3 federal grant programs which allocate more than $2 million to the Manhattan office for its casework, though she stated that no grant money has been used to pay Trump investigation expenses. Yeah, not yet. But New York City's broke. You don't think they're going to tap into that piggy bank when they have to? If you're an independent, and I know it's only $5,000 now, but there's $2 million in grants that are ready to be tapped into. You're paying for this. If you think this is a politically motivated witch hunt, if you think this is a politically motivated pursuit of Donald Trump, you're paying for it. And you're going to continue paying for it. They don't care that they're wasting your money. It doesn't matter to them. So what does the indictment mean for the rest of us? Well, memes are now illegal in New York. You can't share memes because apparently that's election interference. Everything else that could potentially interfere in an election is not election interference and results in the safest and most secure election in the history of our country. You can't speak out. You can't peacefully protest unless you're peacefully protesting on behalf of transgender individuals. Then you can peacefully protest because that group is quote unquote under attack. I'd like to ask anybody who's a trans activist how that group is under attack. And don't tell me because you call them names. Well, you call me names. Do I feel like I'm under attack? Not really. I'm perfectly fine. I don't give a damn what you call me. I don't like it. Specifically don't like being called a Nazi. I don't think that's necessarily appropriate. I don't think that's good to call somebody a racist when they're not being a racist, because now the victims of real race-motivated crimes, because that still happens, doesn't happen as frequently as they want you to believe, but it still happens. There will always be racists in society, and we must always work to condemn them, but you're never going to eradicate society of racism. It's never going to happen. But the victims of real race-motivated crimes, those people are not going to be taken seriously. Ever read the Boy Who Cried Wolf? How many fake hate crimes between Jussie, between Bubba Wallace, and the so many other race-motivated hate crimes that weren't actually hate crimes? The next time you hear about a hate crime, you're going to say, well, why should I believe it? It's like when the weather guys keep getting things wrong. The snowstorm's going to drop 12 inches of snow, and then it drops 3. And then he does it again. It's going to be a blizzard, and then it's another inch of snow. And it's going to be the biggest storm of the century, and it's something that we've seen, time and time again. You're going to stop believing them because they're sensationalizing everything, and you're going to be desensitized to what is actually what could be a real issue at times. But that's the left. They want to tell you that these things are happening. These groups are under attack. Transgender people are not under attack. I'm not saying they don't get bullied. I'm not saying there are times where they're not treated fairly. But it happens to every one of us. Cry me a freaking river. But the fact of the matter is the transgender community has more rights in this country than any other group in this country at all. You could argue they have more rights than the freaking people who run our government. I don't think Nancy Pelosi is allowed to use the men's room. I don't think so. I don't think she's allowed to use the bathroom. But some of these transgender activists want to use the opposite gender's bathroom. They could do it. They could do it whenever they want because they feel a certain way. Abandoning facts, abandoning reality, abandoning normal, abandoning biology, abandoning science. What about science deniers? What about that? Just to make somebody feel better? No. It's gone beyond a white lie. Oh, you feel a certain way. That's okay. I support you. We're going to help you. Well, that's turned into something really sinister and disgusting now, hasn't it? The transgender community has more rights in this country than any other group of people in this country, and you'll never be able to change my mind off of that. It's perfectly true. As a matter of fact, they've earned the right to shoot up an elementary school. We have seen the left condemn the gun laws, Republicans, Trump supporters, Trump himself, society, but we haven't heard them condemn the shooter. You think if that guy, or not really, sorry, not guy, you think of that shooter who just wreaked havoc in an Nashville elementary school, a Christian, by the way, elementary school, if that shooter walked in there with a MAGA hat, you don't think they would have gone straight after Donald Trump over that? This is the hate that he has stoked and fed in society. That's what they would have done, and you know it. You don't think that if this was a Trump supporter, that we would already have all of the details of the manifesto that they're not releasing? I wonder what's in there. And that's why projects like LFA TV, that's why projects like and platforms like Rumble, platforms like Getter, platforms like Truth Social and Gab are so important because they give us the ability to speak candidly. They give us the ability to speak candidly about what's going on and to share the truth and to foster these conversations that'll go a long way to helping people come around and realize that they've been duped. And it's hard to admit that you've been fooled. A lot of independents were baited and switched by Democrats. It's true. And now they're finally starting to see the light. Can we continue to foster the conversations that are necessary to continue to drive people away from the Democrat Party? I think we can. I definitely think we can. All right, now, what we're going to do is we're going to do some phone calls. First, we're going to call somebody here because Carol, I think she's in the chat. Is she in the chat right now?
I
haven't seen her yet. So hopefully she doesn't pick up the phone, because she wants us to call to hear the voicemail that she just ordered off of CaptainDeplorable45.com. And if you want this, something similar, they're not all exactly the same, to be your voicemail, you can go and get one as well. CaptainDeplorable45.com. We're going to call the number now, and hopefully she doesn't pick up. If she does pick up, I'll have to say, Carol, it's Sean, and we're showing everybody your voicemail. And she will... Yeah, let her know that I'm about to call from a 631 number, and let her know not to answer that call so that we can get that. And once you send that text, let me know when you send it and when it's delivered, and then hopefully she will know not to pick up. I hope she doesn't pick up, because it's a good voicemail, isn't it? It is.
Hang on, let me see if she'll answer me.
All right, so we're going to get ready to make that phone call in a second. And y'all are going to see it. And then we're going to open up the phone lines to anybody who's watching. We have almost 200 people on Rumble that are tuned in right now. A bunch of people on YouTube. A bunch of people on Facebook. Some folks on Twitter. Some folks on Getter. And we will be able to do it. There's Ashley. Loud Tatted Bomb 04. Got my birthday shout out at screen recorded. My dad actually thought it was Trump. Well, you know what? That's because your father is an intelligent person. And he heard the voice and he said, wow, you got a shout out from Trump. That's incredible. Incredible. Isn't that great? Isn't that tremendous? Okay, so I'm going to, we're going to go through with this call.
Okay.
All right, and hopefully
I don't know if she's seen the text or not, but if she answers, just tell her.
we'll just tell her who it is. Exactly. All right, so we're going to go through with this call. We're not going to mention what her number is, but I have it copied and pasted from what you sent me. And we're going to make the call now.
Okay. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631. 631.
going the right way. Just a lot of ringing right now. What? Maybe I'll leave another voicemail, yeah. It's just ringing over and over and over again.
You have reached 209-484-1097, or as I call her, Carol the cowgirl, one of the most highly respected cowgirls in the history of the world. She can't take your call right now, but she's probably out checking cows or riding horses or fixing fences or drinking beers and tequila, or maybe even barbecuing steaks with the dogs, Mindy, Jamie, and Jordy by the pool. Incredible dogs, highly respected and talented dogs. So leave a big, beautiful, incredible message after the highly respected and fantastic tone. And Carol the cowgirl, who's extremely busy, will give you a call back as soon as possible. Thank you, God bless you, and let's make America great again, believe me.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Carol, I just wanted to show off your voicemail. I know you're very excited about it. And we're on Rumble right now, and people wanted to hear it, so we wanted to share it. And I'm so excited that that's your voicemail. It sounds beautiful, believe me. So that's that's Carol's voicemail. How does everybody like that voicemail? So you can do that. You can get that and have that ordered, CaptainDeplorable45.com. And what happens is we send you an MP3, and you could just, if you have an iPhone, you could just, play it in the background and let it record while you record your voicemail. It's very easy. I could record your ringtones, too. So if you want that to happen when your phone rings, we could do that as well. So that's what Carol wanted us to do. That she was telling us to do. That she wanted to show off her new voicemail. It's like her new car. It's like a new car, shiny new car. Carol the cowgirl. We love her. She's great. She's a loyal LFA supporter. So there you have it. CaptainDeplorable45.com. It's in the show description everywhere. It's on the ticker everywhere. You go to that website, you're like, I heard him do this voicemail thing, and I want that. So you can go to the website, you can do that, CaptainDeplorable45.com. Now, let me put the number on the screen, because why don't we just have a couple of conversations? We'll talk to everybody who's out there. We could do it. We've done it before. There's your number, 631-527-4545. That's a nice number, 4545. Isn't that incredible? 631-527-4545. Let's talk about what the next steps are between now and what happens to Donald Trump. What do you think the indictment means for the rest of us? And if you happen to be one of those independents who didn't vote for Trump in 2020, I really want to hear from you. I really want to hear from you, because that would be, that would break the internet. We got the target market of folks that we want to speak to. And if it's not who you are and you just support Trump and you want to have a little fun on a Saturday, we're right here. We got a call coming in, so we're going to answer that. And hello, who do I have the pleasure of speaking with today?
Yes, Sean, it's Lynn from Salem, Massachusetts. We
Hello,
spoke
Lynn.
in when you were with the loud majority.
Very cool. Oh wow! So you've been following for a very long time. So what's going on? How are you?
We're good, very good. I just wanted to say, I lived in New York. I grew up in Mineola. I worked in New York City. I worked for a very large law firm in New York City. And looking at this case from the information that we have, it's so bogus. It's not even funny. I am surprised that a judge will not throw this out.
Well, do you think that it's possible that the judge will maybe not throw it out? I mean, it's the Southern District of New York, so it's like corrupt as heck anyway.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are calling it an untested legal theory. Would you say that because they're elevating a misdemeanor to a felony, which I've read means they have to prove intent to commit another crime, you think that could even stand up in court? Are these charges going to stick?
No, unless the judge is on the Democrats' pay list and is totally corrupted, there's no way that should go forward. The fact that the statute of limitations has run, I mean, for any other person, any other case, and I've dealt with judges in New York, all over Nassau, Suffolk County, New York County, Brooklyn. they would laugh that right out of the courtroom under normal circumstances. But the fact that this is not a normal circumstance, because, like I said, I'm an independent.
Okay.
I'm an independent voter, and I'm in one of the bluest states that God ever created next to New York, because I'm in Massachusetts. I just don't see how any judge worth their salt would move this forward.
So
I just don't see.
And you said you had experience in New York City's system,
Yes.
right? Okay, so
Yes.
can you help explain to everybody how the courts work in New York City? That the Supreme Court is not, or in New York State is not the highest court.
That is the lowest court. That is the bottom rung of the court system in New York. Then you have the Court of Appeals, which is your second level, followed by the appellate court. The appellate court is the second level, and then you have the Court of Appeals, which is the highest court. Because New York does it backwards, because pretty much every other state, the Supreme Court is the top
Right.
court, but it's not in New York. New York is very unique into itself, and how the court system works.
So now let me ask you this
so-
question. So what happens if Donald Trump is convicted, let's say? Like he gets a bad judge, it's rigged, it's a horrible thing, right?
It would go automatically to appeal. It would go to the appellate division.
Yep. And then
for
what
appeal.
happens after that?
And then
If he
after
doesn't get
that,
it
it
right.
would go to the Court of Appeals.
Got it.
That is the highest court.
Okay. But you don't see it. You personally wouldn't see how a judge, like you said, worth his salt. And I'm not saying like anyone's going to hold you to it,
Yeah.
Lynn, but like that there really is no case here.
There is absolutely no case, because the fact of the matter is the statute of limitations has run
Right.
on the initial case. It has run. Okay? And we're not talking like it's just expired. It's been expired for
Oh, I think we might have lost you, Lynn. Oh, no. Oh, she was giving such great insight, too. Lynn, if you're there, give me a sign. If not, I'm going to have to go to another call. Oh, no.
I'm here.
She's here.
I'm here.
Oh, she's saved. Great. We lost you when you said that the statute of limitations had run.
Right. If it's run, that's it. That's the end of the case. And that's basic law school, like 101. If your statute has run, oh, well, too bad, so sad.
Now, they're saying that they're trying to, he basically extended it from, 2 years to 5 years to 7 years because of the felony charge?
That is actually, and this is something that I'm kind of really befuddled by.
Okay.
Because he's trying to bring a federal charge
Right.
to make this a felony, but he doesn't have the jurisdiction to do so. Because he's a state DA, not a federal DA.
Right.
So
All right, well,
that
this
to
is
me is another.
Yeah, no,
That's-
good.
Is very questionable.
Okay, well, this is great insight. I'll tell you what, it's thank you so much for sharing that with us, because that's why we do it. We get, we know that a lot of people listen to our stuff here, and from all walks of life, and the fact that you can give us this type of legal insight into how the system works is invaluable. So I appreciate that.
No problem, Sean, and I really appreciate you doing these Saturday streams, because that's really the only day I can actually get to sit and watch, without being interrupted by somebody. But so thank you. And like I said, New York had a great loss when you moved.
Oh, well, we appreciate that. And New York, I think there's still some talent, a lot of talent left in that state. And between what the loud majority's doing, the New York Young Republicans, there's a lot of good folks still left there fighting. And I wish them the best of luck. And anything we could do for them, we'll help them with.
Well, I wish some of them would come up here and help us here in Massachusetts, because believe it or not, there's a lot of people who feel the same way as we do in this state. But again, afraid to speak up.
Well, thank you, Lynn, for the insight. Really appreciate it. And I hope to speak to you again
you're welcome.
soon.
Yes, absolutely. Take care, and God bless, Sean.
Thank you. You too. Great insight there. I mean, like the first call of the day is somebody with experience with this and is saying how this is just bogus. That's amazing. So keep the calls coming. That was Lynn from Salem, Massachusetts. So she's in the blue area as well. And keep the calls coming. I apologize to everybody who didn't get through while that was going on, but that was just unbelievable. You can't get that insight. That was just great insight into how this whole process is playing out. She's got experience with New York City, the system over there. So we had Carol, the cowgirl's voicemail. We had Lynn from Salem, Massachusetts with just, I mean, if that doesn't tell you, right, that this is nonsense, but that it can still happen. It could still happen to you. You could still get wrapped in something like this, wrapped up in something like this. We don't want to see that happen. Anybody else who wants to call in, the number's up there, 631-527-4545. We're ready to rock and roll. Lynn gave us great insight there. And don't feel intimidated by the fact that she gave awesome insight. We're here. We want to talk to you. She also said that also is an independent, which is really cool, and is enjoying the Saturday streams. If you're enjoying the Saturday streams, give us a shout right here as well. I see people in the live chat saying, I see Ray Friesen says, just hearing what she had to say made me feel a little better. That's good. Vicky is saying it's good. Bad Moon is saying thank you. New York won't be the same without him. That's it. Listen, I'm just one guy. No big deal. Y'all can keep fighting. It'll be okay. We have a depressed senator who can't speak without a machine reading for him. What's worse, that is, I believe, you're referring to John Fetterman. He just got released from the hospital. Congratulations to John Fetterman. He's been released after a month and a half of time. That's it. So if you're enjoying the Saturday conversation, you can give us a call. We can chat it up for a little bit. If not, I mean, we've been on for almost an hour already. Kind of wild. Make sure that you are subscribed to Rumble. Oh, we have another call coming in right now, so let's see who this is. All right, hello. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? Hello.
Hello, this is Matt Brown.
Matt Brown. Oh, my goodness. So we just connected on Twitter. Matt, I think you suggested something to me for the Captain Deplorable website, right?
Yes, I did.
So I want to let you know right now in front of everybody who's watching the stream that I spoke to the team about it, and we're probably going to do something like that. So thank you for the
Very
suggestion.
Good. Let's keep it top secret for now, though.
For sure. Absolutely. That's top
Don't
secret.
let anybody else steal that one on you.
No one's going to steal it. What's up, Matt? What do you want to talk about?
Hey, listen, I just want to say how much I appreciate what you're doing. I'm from New York. I'm actually on the road right now with my wife and my dog. We're driving down to South Carolina to visit all our family and friends who are refugees who moved to South Carolina.
Cool.
As a result of the craziness. And I guess I wanted to, first of all, again, thank you so much. I first learned about you a while ago with the imitations, and I only recently discovered your podcast and how amazing it is. You're doing incredible work.
Well, thank you, and I hope that you're tuned into all of LFA TV. It's a great platform. It's a great channel on Rumble. If you don't have a Rumble account, I would suggest making one and following the entire lineup there. It's the news of the day, but a fresh perspective every single time. But I appreciate the kind words, and yeah, we're trying to grow this thing like crazy. It takes people who are passionate about this country just like you to help us grow, and we're happy to have you on board, that's for sure.
Yeah, and one thing I just wanted to bring up about the Trump case. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know the situation with Michael Cohen.
Yep.
That he invested in taxi medallions. Do you know about this?
Yeah, the taxi medallion scandal, they got him. That's what they put him in jail for in 2018, I believe.
But not only that, he purchased 34 taxi medallions.
Right.
That were worth, at one point, $1.2 million each. And he wound up borrowing money against those medallions to the tune of over $20 million.
Oh,
so he
wow.
was highly leveraged. And so I'm trying to understand exactly what's going on. Why would Michael Cohen use his own home equity line of credit to pay off Stormy Daniels? Sounds very suspicious. And they say they didn't even inform Trump until after the fact.
Right. It was the letter that came out. We spoke about it on the show about a week ago or so, that Michael Cohen's lawyers came out and said that Donald Trump was not a party to the transactions, to the payments or anything. And so that should destroy the case right there, you would think.
Right. It's just, now this is a little bit of speculation, but the only thing that I can figure would make sense is that Cohen was so up against it in debt. In fact, believe it or not, one of the things he got busted for was he was selling influence before Trump even got into the White House.
That I did not know.
Major Fortune 500 companies that actually were paying Cohen because
Wow.
he was going around telling everybody that, oh, I'm a lawyer for Trump and I'm going to be his right-hand man once he's in the White House. And then all of a sudden, so his whole world financially was coming crashing down on him. He must have been in a desperate situation. And all I can think is that this might have been some scheme where Cohen was trying to get money out of Trump that Trump otherwise wouldn't have paid, by
Right.
saying, hey, listen, I used my own money to take care of this. It was an October surprise coming, and Trump reimbursed them. I'm really curious as this case develops, if it develops, to see what the real truth is behind this. Because what I see is you got Trump, who's a germaphobe from way back,
Right.
doesn't even like to shake hands with people. I know this
Right.
from a cousin of mine.
Everybody says the same thing about Trump too, by the way. He doesn't like to touch people, doesn't like to shake hands. He's a germaphobe.
Right.
Yeah, he's like Howie
So what
Mandel
I'm saying
almost.
is, it doesn't make sense that Trump is getting with a porn star. I'm just saying.
I mean, he used to brag about these activities back in the day, but he's a guy from Queens, and being from New York, that Queens is the most braggadocious borough out there. So who knows? what it is.
Right. I don't know. Maybe he. But what we do know is we got the porn star and we got two very sleazy lawyers involved.
Yeah,
In frankly, what could be seen as an extortion scheme.
could be. Well, didn't he sue
it-
Stormy Daniels and win the defamation case?
He absolutely did.
So I don't see where they're going with this case, but you could be right about kind of the philosophies and the rationale behind everything. Very, very,
And
very
you know what?
possible.
Let me throw out another comparison I haven't seen much. There was another very famous extortion case that happened years ago. Bill Cosby.
Okay.
Bill Cosby had an affair, and he fathered a child from this affair. He did not want this being public, and he was known as Dr. Huxtable, America's Dad, had such a great image.
Right, from the show, right.
This daughter grew up, and when she was a young adult, she came forward and tried to shake him down for millions of dollars. And you know what he did? He went to the police, and his own biological daughter was arrested and sent to prison.
Wow.
All I'm saying is the double standard is so glaring. This was a shakedown on the eve of the election, and the fact that they are prosecuting and persecuting Donald Trump over this is absolutely disgraceful.
Yeah, and they can come for any one of us if they could do it for a former president. And that's the point that I want to stress to a lot of people, to a lot of middle of the road folks, to a lot of people on the fence, that if you heard Build Back Better in 2020, I don't think this is what you voted for, and I think this is the conversation. That's the conversation I'm going to try to have with some of those folks too. Matt, thank you so much for calling. I really appreciate hearing from you.
Thank you. I really appreciate your work.
All right, thanks, and welcome aboard.
Take care, Sean.
Bye. Matt Brown, legend. I just met him on Twitter a couple days ago. Literally, he followed me on Twitter. We started chatting, and here he is. I mean, this is how we grow. This is how our platform grows. This is how our show grows. How our message grows. Maybe we could do 2 more phone calls before we go. I'm starting to, I know it's getting to be that time. I'm starting to sweat. So maybe a couple more calls if we want. We've been on for about an hour. There's over almost 200 people watching here on Rumble. At short notice on and I think we have Gina in the chat doing dad jokes, which is everyone's doing dad jokes, which is always funny when the chat starts doing dad jokes. That's amazing. Now that was just on Rumble. Those were the Rumble numbers. YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, we see them here. And I'm jumping in. I see a few folks from Massachusetts, from Louisiana, from Maine. Look at that. We're all over the East Coast there. How about everyone shouts out what state they are listening from? What state they're listening? There we go. There's a guy on YouTube. We have a troll. And, it's always good when the trolls jump in the chat, because that means we're getting close to the target when the trolls jump in the chat. So there's a couple of trolls over on YouTube. And that's pretty funny. We have. It looks like I missed a call. I'm sorry if that was you who just called. I missed it. It didn't pop up on my screen. You can call again, and we'll. I'll be able to get you through. If that was you who just called before, I don't know who that was. What state are we watching from? I see Oregon, California, Illinois, Utah. I'm in the state of Gina. Oh boy, The Goat's Kisses is going crazy. Long Island, Baltimore, Maryland. Let's see. And who else is watching? It's got Tennessee. Nice. That's where I am. I see New York. It's where I used to be. Massachusetts. Linny Bear. I wonder if Linny Bear from Massachusetts is the person who just called Lynn from Salem. I would imagine. You're doing good. Louisiana says hello. California, Indiana, Tijuana. Really? We have somebody calling from Mexico. We're not calling, but watching from Tijuana, Mexico. That's incredible. They're going to pay for the wall. Let's see here. Joplin, Missouri, Sparks, Nevada, North Carolina. Brennan says she's watching from Tennessee. Wow, I had no idea. Thanks for enlightening me there. I had no idea. Vicky says, Brennan, are you sure? Pennsylvania. Hopefully everybody's been okay with those storms. All right, so a couple minutes. If we don't get this phone to ring in a couple minutes, we're just going to sign off for the day. I know we had someone just call, and I missed it. And 609. I don't know where that's from. But if that... Oh, it was Dr. Sauce by mistake. Oh, he called by accident. All right, no worries. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, in that case, what we're going to do is I'm going to wish you a very happy Saturday. We just hit over 200 people watching today, which is double last Saturday's numbers, and almost what the first Saturday was like when we had all that crazy buzz around the Trump arrest. So welcome to the channel. Make sure that you're subscribed, rumble.com/Sean Farish. If you want to support the Locals channel that Brennan and I have. Right now, we just go on. We act a little silly on Friday nights. It's fun to get to know everybody. We chat for about a half hour. But here's my goal and my plan. Once we get to that 50 supporter, and we are so close. We had a bunch of new supporters jump on over the weekend. If you want to support our Locals channel, once we hit 50, oh my goodness, I'm going to be on there. We're going to be writing jokes together. We're going to be doing all the funny things together. It's going to be so fun. We're going to have a great time. Believe it or not, we're going to have a great time. We'll be able to post more content. We'll be able to do longer streams. We're going to get twice the amount of freedom on Locals. It's right below the video here if you're watching on Rumble. So it's SeanFarish.locals.com/support. When we get to 50, we're doing a giveaway as well for 2 people at random. Thank you so much for all of the support. I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. If you're in the path of any more of those storms over in the Northeast today, I know upstate New York's going to look a little hairy. New Jersey potentially later on as that front passes through is going to look a little hairy. Be safe. Don't do anything silly. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Well, actually, do things that I would do. Don't do things that I would do also, because I would like to chase one of those tornadoes eventually with Reed Timmer. That would be a lot of fun, but that's pretty expensive. Did he try? He did. Now I just lost it. Yeah, it was there because I was out there talking. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching again this weekend. Really appreciate all the love, all the support. Locals channel is there. If you want to subscribe to it, it's up to you. No hard feelings if you don't. We're gracious for your support. If you do, a little bit goes a long way. It's only, I think, if the subscription is $5 a month, turns out to be $60 a year, and we get to all have fun together. That's the way I like to do it. Couple of my favorite comedians used to do that. They used to go on live streams and write the jokes with the people. That's how I did it on TikTok. That's what inspired that. That's what inspires my vision is, not just our Locals channel and behind the scenes, but hanging out, having fun, and having a good time. Thank you everybody for watching. We're gonna rock and roll. I guess we'll end it the way we normally end it. As President Trump says, we'll never give up, we'll never give in, and we'll never surrender. And if all else fails, we'll just become ungovernable. Now, we'll be back on Monday morning on LFA TV, 10 a.m. Eastern to 11 a.m. Eastern on rumble.com/LFA TV. Make sure you subscribe to this Rumble channel and the LFA TV Rumble channel. Hit the like button. Leave a comment if you could. We would appreciate that. Helps our channel grow as well. Share this with everybody, and we will catch you on Monday morning on LFA TV. Thanks, guys. It was a fun conversation as always, and we'll see you next Saturday. Have a good weekend, and God bless America. I guess that's what they say. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America, believe me.